You're listening to Spark TV, where we bring you daily interviews with real women in business at all stages. I'm your host, Danielle Lewis, and I am so grateful to have you here. So good. Lisa, we hit record. We're here. Welcome to Spark TV.
Thank you. Super excited to be here. I love what you've done. I know that you've been growing this community for years and you've really put your heart and soul into it. So it really is a privilege to be here, to be chatting to you and, talking to all the women that you've been supporting for all of this time. So thank you. Oh, I'm a bit emotional already.
What the heck? You and I, for everyone listening, we've just been ranting about business for the last 10 minutes. And now you come out with these beautiful words. I'm like, what the heck? This is gorgeous.
Well, it's true.
You've made my day. You've given me therapy and then kindness. This is so good.
Because I don't know if you remember, we met, God, when I was working at River City Labs with Peter, that would have been 2016, 2017. I think you had
super
just
early in
started.
My sprint journey.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
It just feels like a lifetime ago.
Well, 10 years next year. What the actual...
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny because, I know we live in this world where you want everything to happen today.
Yeah.
I have an idea and I'm like, I want to sell $1 billion of that today. And it's you kind of have to readjust to thinking in year-long, decade-long timelines.
Yeah.
And that really sucks going into that. But 10 years goes so quickly. It's an outrage.
Absolutely does, because I must admit it was at my time at River City Labs, and just seeing the number of men coming through the accelerator program, the number of men sitting in the co-working space, the tech industry at that time. If you saw a woman sort of walk in the door, it was just like, And I can remember at that time just supporting some of the... I was mainly at that time supporting the ecosystem sort of enablers and builders with funding, making sure that they were tapping into all of the available sort of Australian or Queensland government funding. So, I worked with River City Labs. I worked with Split Spaces. I worked with Christine out in Longreach. I worked with all of these amazing people building this ecosystem. And then at the same time was also supporting, some of the startups in the co-working space and in the accelerator. And it was amazing to me, even in the grant space, the number of sort of male-led businesses that were getting funded. And then I was lucky enough to also join different funding programs as an assessor. So sat on sort of multiple assessment committees and because I love data, was capturing all of the sort of relevant details that I was interested in. So, kept account of how many women applications that I assessed, and then subsequently how many got funded. And, we would only receive about 20% of all applications, women, and probably less than that actually, because that was just my, my pool. And then I was still seeing that of that, still only 1 or 2% were getting funded. So the stats that we see in the venture capital world, for me, were replicated in the grant space. And now, to preface that, it was programs that were, that were open. It was technology. It was innovation. It was not for profit. It was not social enterprise. It was, commercial businesses looking for grant funding or government support to commercialize and grow. So, side by side to the VC sort of funding space. But again, 1 to 2%. It's just like,
why? So why do you think it is? Do you think it's because there's not enough female businesses in that industry, or do you think it's because women don't throw their hat in the ring?
It's probably a little bit of both. Now,
Mm.
what I'm seeing is that with the rise of support for ecosystem enablers, so for
Mm.
groups like Tech Ready Women, for the universities that have had female founded sort of programs like UNSW have got the WAVE program, the work of Launch Victoria and the work that
Mm.
they've done with the Alice Anderson Fund. Like, I think some of those enablers have really helped to lift some of the opportunities for women to think about what they're doing from a technical perspective. So, of course, because this is STEM, this is tech innovation. And it really opened the way for women who, had a thought for an app, or, thought, well,
Mm.
I do this, and from a process perspective, and I wonder if we can apply a technology overlay to that. And so we've definitely started seeing more women come into this space.
Mm.
And it's then through those programs that they better understand the commercialization process. And I think that's been a real problem area for women. And let's face it, we've
Yeah.
had generations where we've been locked out of business, we've been locked out of funding. And, let's face it, like I'm old enough that when I went to apply for my first credit card, I couldn't do that. I had to have my dad as guarantor.
Wow.
So, it's in my lifetime that, even the banking industry had,
Yeah.
had shut the door was shut for us. So we've got a long way to catch up. So in that, things like commercialization, we just didn't have the language. We're not taught it.
Mm.
We don't understand the terminology. We don't understand the process. So there's been a real catch up. And I think because we are so smart, we've caught up very fucking quickly.
Yes.
And now we're here going, okay, now choose us too.
Yeah.
But of course, there's still other, um, systemic issues that we need to be dealing with.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of, and it's interesting. So I come from the vintage of, so I was the lone woman walking into the
Mm.
River City
Yeah,
Labs
you were.
networking
You
events.
were. It was like, who's this?
Yeah. And then, but I mean, it's funny. I'm like, I don't know what it is about me, but I'm pretty oblivious. Like, I just think I
Mm.
can do anything, which
Yeah.
bodes very well for me. But
Mm.
where I found issue was, certainly threw my hat in the ring for things, and then I only through that process realized, I guess,
Mm.
some of the discrimination that did happen with women when it came to investment and grant funding. Like, I mean, the what really did it for me was I think it was federal government. There was a female founder grant,
Yes.
which has since been discontinued, but
Mm.
basically where I was at in my business, like it was going to be perfect, but we had too many male shareholders. So I got rejected because we were too male. I'm like, so even as a
Oh my
female founder, you are
God.
making it prohibitive for a female founder to get
Yeah.
access to female founder funding
Yeah.
because of other elements, like because of a tick box.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the seed got planted for the Spark Women in Business grants.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because so many women come to me and say stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, well, we can't apply for all of these programs, so I assume we can't apply for yours." And I'm
Mm.
like, "No, that's why we invented Spark, because I was pissed off with all of that."
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was like, "You don't have to be tech. You don't have to,
Mm-hmm.
be majority female. You don't have
Mm.
to be XYZ. It's like get more money in the hands of
Mm-hmm.
women."
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct, correct. I put together a proposal. I've called it the 365 initiative, because
Cool.
if we can move the needle by 3 to 5%, we can open up to $6 billion worth of immediate economic potential in Australia. And
Holy
and
shit.
and
Wow.
if we open up the opportunity and make it more fair, we have an opportunity to open up $128 billion in Australia alone. And here
Wow.
we are, like we've got the Australian treasurer, so Mr. Chalmers, talking this week. Oh, I think we need to do tax reform because we've got some productivity issues. Like productivity is flattening and decreasing a little bit. It's just like, have I got an idea for you?
Can
And
make an impact.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I've been sending this promotion, like I've sent it out to multiple Australian ministers. I've sent it to all the states, and I've gone.
I know.
You know what? We need a program that
Yeah.
stops discriminating against women because they don't
Mm.
have tech businesses. Like,
Yeah.
sure, let's support women
Yeah.
in tech, but you also need to understand that just across the board, women do more with the funding that you give them. Like they
Yes.
turn that into another 78 cents for every dollar that you give them. They
Wow.
employ more people.
Mhm.
And, oftentimes women or other disadvantaged people in the community. And and then once they're on a roll, those businesses are around for a long time and they build then generational wealth. And it's
Yes.
just like, what more can you want?
Yeah, I know. And it's like every business can't be a fucking tech business. It
Correct.
can't all be a piece of software. Like you think about
Yeah.
everything that's in the room around you now. Sure,
Mm,
we're on laptops doing the tech
mm,
stuff, but there's
mm.
just so many things to our life
Yeah.
that we consume and that we need and that we
Hmm.
rely on in our day to day.
Mm,
And all of that is important and all of that contributes to exactly what you said, the economy,
hmm.
employment.
Hmm.
And there's a stat as well around when women do well in their businesses, they often give back more into their
Correct.
communities. So
Correct. You know,
none of
they're
it's bad. None of it's bad.
yes, exactly. So I'm currently reworking that proposal and creating a blueprint this time and
Mm,
sending it back out and saying, well, this productivity issue that you think that you have in Australia,
mm.
let's move forward with this little idea.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's incredible. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, good on you. Like, do you know how many people like whinge about the state of circumstances and never do
Mm,
anything about
yeah,
it?
yeah.
I just love that you
Mm,
have had a career watching things unfold and
mm.
you're like, nope, no, we can do better.
Yeah, we can. We can. Yes,
Do
we absolutely can. Hmm.
do you know we haven't even introduced who you are or what you do? So let's just put a little pin here and tell everyone who you are and what you do, what your business is.
Okay. For those who haven't met me, my name is Lisa Erhart. I am the founder of Funding for Growth. It is a community of female founders looking for funding to grow their businesses. I work with these women specifically around sort of education and capability building. And I'm actually building some tech. So I have an AI powered assessment tool called Assessment IQ, where you can upload your grant application and have it pre-assessed before you submit, so that you get some feedback. Like, I don't know about you, Danielle, but
Mm.
I have definitely been one of those people who have submitted applications. It was unsuccessful, never got any feedback, like thought I was a shoe-in. And I speak to hundreds of women, and they all say the same. And it's just like, so I've built a tool that will give you some detailed feedback. It provides this beautiful evaluation report. It highlights the strengths of your businesses, the strengths in your application. It highlights any gaps and makes recommendations for improvement.
That's so good. I love that. And it's,
I love it too.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I can tell by the first 15 minutes that you're very passionate about this space. But it's so cool because you're spot on. It's the exact feedback I would give people. It's the
Mm.
exact feedback people say to me is they're like, I've applied for 10 grants this year and I didn't get
Yes,
any of them and I have no idea. And people like are really hanging out to know like whether
correct.
they and the period of time as well, like how long
Hmm.
it takes for grants to be assessed and all
Mm.
that there's just so many issues
I've
that,
got an idea for that too.
oh my God, tell me.
No, not
Or is
yet.
that that's a secret squirrel coming
It
soon?
is. I'm
Yeah.
working on that one.
Oh my God, that is so good.
But it's true. Like,
Yeah.
I met with Jane this week. Jane has got this amazing social enterprise, not for profit. She works with disadvantaged youth. She's doing some really great thing with re-engaging these young people,
Hmm.
helping to build their confidence again, giving them some skills, helping them to feel like they've got the ability to make a positive contribution. She has applied for 80 different grants and has only received three.
Holy crap, that is not great odds.
And she writes really well. Like, I've
Wow.
assessed some, like, she's got data, like, there's validation, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? So we're
Wow.
doing a deep dive into some of that to really pinpoint what's going on.
Mm.
Um, can I talk about my book?
Oh, please,
I have a
please.
book. So
Oh my
for
God. That's gorgeous too. Did you self-publish or is this published by?
yes,
Oh my God,
no,
that looks gorgeous.
oh, I did pay someone to do the design for me. So
That's all right.
Hazel's amazing. So Hazel, oh God, what was it called? The flowers, the lost flowers of,
Something.
yeah, I'll send it to
We'll
you.
put it in the
Anyway,
show notes. We'll put
yeah,
it in the
yeah,
show
yeah.
notes. Yeah.
It was a book and it turned into a series on streaming. And so I found the designer
Oh,
of that and said, would you be open to? And she went,
oh,
yes, of course.
cool.
So yeah, so she did all of the inside for me as well.
Wow.
So it's so for those who have maybe applied once or twice, or maybe haven't even applied for any grant funding yet,
Yeah.
it's an excellent first step. It
Cool.
it deep dives into the Boosting Female Founders grant
Yeah.
as an opportunity. And so you can download the sample application, you can download the guidelines, you can
Yeah.
follow along. I'll explain what all of the guidelines and eligibility criteria is. I even go into an assessment process and share one of the
Oh, wow.
assessment sort of scoring processes. So yeah, it's a book that you do rather than a book that you read.
That's so cool. And it's
Oh.
called Advanced Grant Writing for Female Founders. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. That's so good because it is so true.
Yeah.
I always looked at grants as there's some kind of cryptic mystery art form slash
Mm,
science form that I just didn't have.
mm.
I was like, I can build a business. I can create something that people need and sell it to people. But for some reason, I can't convince someone to give me money for that when they're
Yeah.
in government.
Yeah, it's wild. So
So
I
wild.
talk a little bit about, um, you know, looking at your application from a funder's perspective, stepping into the shoes of
Mm,
an assessor, just
yeah.
because it helps to then sort of lift up and take a more objective look, not only at your application, but also at your business. Because one of the
Yeah.
things I love about grant applications, because I'm a bit weird, um, is they'll always bring to the surface potential weaknesses in your business.
Yes.
Maybe things in the back of your mind that you keep thinking, oh God, I really should learn about that, or I should explore that, or I should do that research, or I should. And it's not until you're typing away and all of a sudden it's just like, oh fuck. If I had have done that, 6 months ago when I thought
Yeah.
about doing it, I would then have the data to be able
Yes.
to put into here. I would have had some surveys, I would have done some interviews,
Mm.
I would have the evidence that it's asking for, and I didn't. But you know what? Today's a new day.
And you know what? That is one of the benefits, I think, of applying. So yes,
Yes.
yes, the money's great,
Mm,
but I am always blown away by the comments I get from female founders that is like that were like, I was on a roll. So because
mm.
I applied for that grant, I sent off a proposal. Or
Yes.
I did that thing. I just suddenly had this like
Yes.
momentum and
Hmm.
confidence. And
Mm,
it's like once that grant application's in, who knows if you're going to get it or not. So it's like, why don't you leverage that confidence? And to
hmm.
your point, what are the
Mm,
things that it brought to the surface that I don't have yet in my business?
mm.
And that it's almost like I don't like business plans as such, you download the template off some website. But one thing I do love is the fact that it forces you to think about your business
Yeah.
in ways that you don't because you get stuck in your to-do list.
Yes.
It elevates you to that strategic level. And
Yes.
and I think we have a hard time doing that as founders because we're wearing all of the goddamn hats.
100%. And as women, you're also there,
Oh,
oftentimes as principal carer, or,
mm.
like there's so many other things that you're doing as well.
And
So
God forbid you have an actual life.
I know, like seriously,
Oh my
seriously.
God.
So I have to say, like at different times, like like we all do with our businesses, you sort of go through into the valley and you go, "What the
Mhm.
fuck am I doing here? Like, is
Yep.
this really helping people?"
Hmm.
Um, and it's amazing then how the universe then just puts people back in your path that maybe that you helped some years ago, and then you see how they've then just flourished after that, and you go,
Yes.
okay, yes, I'm here and I'm serving as I'm meant to serve. And um, yeah, like I just
Mm.
think once women really hit their stride
Yeah.
in this commercial space, we're going to see a very, very different world.
Yeah, and you just planted a little seed in my mind then as well. I think about I've been in multiple businesses about 14 years and
Mm,
every day I'm on the roller coaster still.
mm,
But it's funny, when someone says something like really like someone will just reply randomly to an email and say some nice words.
mm,
And
mhm.
I just when you were talking about, when someone crops up and you're like, "Oh, I helped them,"
Yeah.
it just makes me think if anyone's ever helped you, fucking tell them. Tell them
Ah,
because
yes,
they're probably having a bad
yes.
day and they probably wanna quit their business. So,
Yeah.
if they've been helpful, just reach out and tell them they're doing a good job. We need
Yeah.
more pats on the back as female founders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do, and not from a place of ego, but just
No,
from a
it's
place of,
hard. This
you
is
know,
hard.
it's just a reminder that yes, we what we're doing here
Mm.
has meaning, and um, can
I
achieve
love that.
what it's here to achieve. Mm.
So, how have you found going from living in this world, building this ecosystem, seeing this problem, but now you're a tech founder? how
I know.
how have you found like going into like being a tech founder?
It's really weird. And this is the part that actually pisses me off a little bit. The amount of funding that's available for you as a tech
Mm.
founder is just wild. Like I launched Funding for Growth in 2020, and I have applied for multiple different funding, I guess, opportunities over the last, let's say, 5 years. And I have not received anything for Funding for
Wow.
Growth and for
Yeah.
the work that I've done in helping to, build capability and educate and for whatever reason, and it's just like, oh well, obviously not meant to be. But
And
as
why gold, considering like if anyone, you think you know how to write the applications for success, right? Like
yeah,
you're an assessor, like you know what they want.
mm, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
correct. And the frustrating part also is that I prepare bloody good applications, and I've
Yeah.
had feedback come back to me say, your application just shone compared to everybody else's, but we couldn't give it to you because we actually were focusing on this, this, and this. And you just didn't, and it's just like, well, put that in the fucking guidelines. Like,
Yeah,
don't waste my time. Like, and
totally.
because I'm not applying for, 20 grand, I'm applying for 200 grand. So,
Yeah.
it's a big application with lots of partners. Like it's a
Yeah.
consortium sort of bid. And then it's just like, well, don't like
Wow.
put it in the guidelines and don't waste my time. Like, so
Totally.
so I
Yeah.
I get a bit shitty with that. But back to your question, like since I've started developing the technology, and I've just gone, you know what? I'm just going to apply for that. And it's just like, wow, that was easy. I'm just going to apply for that. Hmm, that was easier than I thought. So it's amazing
Wow.
how much
Hmm.
more is available. Um, but yeah, let's see. Let's
Interesting.
see.
So
Yeah.
interesting. And
So
what about from a non-grant perspective? How have you gone? So I have a love-hate relationship with technology. I love it because I think it's powerful, can solve
yeah.
problems, it's scalable,
Mm,
love the business model, rah, 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 rah. Can't fucking ever have luck with developers. Everything always
yeah.
wrong. Like
Yeah.
managing it just
Yeah.
does my head in.
Yeah.
A
Um,
decade later. Like I haven't learned a goddamn thing in a decade, apparently.
I have to say, so I've also, so after my time at River City Labs, I also went consulting with corporations
Mm,
and helping to deliver large scale technical projects within
that's cool.
large companies. So I have to say, and when I started that, I didn't, I don't know how I got the first job, like, but I did. And it was one of those sort of situations where I got paid to learn, not that anybody else didn't know what I was doing. Well, probably they did, but they were kind enough not to say. Um, but I learned, like,
Mm,
it was really important to just embed myself into that space because I had seen how people were being taken advantage of um, by development companies.
yeah.
And like even today, not today, but like I had a recent conversation with a woman who had paid $250,000 for an app, and it still wasn't even ready for some external beta users. Like,
Fuck, that
and
just makes me
they were asked,
mad.
yeah, they were asking
Mm.
her for another 80 grand before it could, and it was just like, oh my, like, but you know what? We have so many opportunities today, like with vibe coding, like
Mm. Yeah,
there are platforms and tools now. But again, though, it's another thing that needs your attention, your focus, your time. But
yeah,
if you're in any way interested, though, I would be just testing some of the new platforms, like
yeah.
is it Replit? Like
Right.
there's actually, like, you can just talk to, like you talk to ChatGPT. You can say,
Yeah,
well, this is who I am, this is my experience, this is what I want to do. I think an app that does this and this and this would be really helpful, and it goes here,
yeah.
test this.
I've actually used one of those for a UI.
Hmm.
So not for the actual back end coding, but to give like
Hmm.
wireframes to a developer.
Ah.
And they picked out the code and the designs from this
Hmm.
AI bot
Mm.
and used that to like basically accelerate the process. So that is actually very cool. I love that.
Yeah. I think, and this again for any women that have
Mm,
like a little interest in tech, who, maybe the ones that, know how to use all the iPhone,
yeah.
have got all the apps, like, anybody who's just got a natural inclination or interest in that area, like I would 100% be encouraging anybody to, ask ChatGPT first if you want. Let it recommend,
Yeah.
the types of platforms to test and use. And I would just be giving it a go. Like even Stephen Bartlett talks about his girlfriend who's um she does breath work or something
Yes.
like that,
Yeah.
and she used Replit to create this app and put it on the store, and
Wow.
is selling access. Like it's just like it's wonderful. It's
So
wonderful.
cool, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. This has been so good. I could literally like just talk to you all day. But I always love to wrap up these podcasts with one last piece of advice. So,
Okay.
reflecting on your time in business, what
Oh.
would be what would be a piece of advice that you would give to another woman on her business journey?
I, I think being, we're often sort of overcritical of ourselves, all the time. And
Mm,
so I want to preface what I'm saying here with this is not an opportunity to beat yourself up. So and this is why I focus on it a little bit in the book about being more objective. So taking a step
yeah.
back and having a look at your business. So there's one I really dislike it when women refer to their business as their baby. It's not.
Oh, yes. Yep.
It's not. It has its own energy, it has its own personality, like, yes, all of that, but it's not your baby. Like it's something that you need to step away from and take a more objective view to it, and acknowledge where you have some opportunities for additional education, potentially things that you don't properly understand. So things like the commercialization, roadmap, or product development roadmap, or if you hear terminology and you're going, what the fuck is that? Take a moment and educate yourself, and then step back into the arena with a different mindset, and get a bit punchy sometimes.
Oh my God, that's the best advice ever. I love it. You are absolutely incredible, Lisa. I have so enjoyed talking to you this
Been
morning. Thank
great.
you
Thank you.
so much for sharing your journey with us and the Smart community.
It's my pleasure. I am, as I said at the beginning, I'm super grateful to be part of any ecosystem where there are women in business, with vision, and doing what they can to not only make a living but potentially build generational wealth. Like we're all here to leave a legacy. So I love being part of that energy. It's fabulous. So thank you for building the container so that we can function within it.
Well, I love having your energy here. So this is mutual love going on
Mutual
today.
love. Yes, yes.
That wraps another episode of Spark TV. Shout out to Spark TV sponsor IP Australia for their amazing support of the Spark podcast and women in business. And if no one tells you today, you've got this.